Hey, today we got something pretty cool to take a look at. It is a Automag 2 from AMT. We've had this in the shop for a little while now, and it has definitely stood out, to me at least, in the display case. I think it looks really, really cool. I've been looking forward to testing this one out and shooting it. The last 22 Magnum I shot, the last 22 Magnum pistol, was from Kel-Tec. It was polymer and pretty lightweight, and it was very, very snappy. 22 Magnum, for if you're not very familiar with it, is definitely more snappy than a 22 long rifle. But this is not polymer. We had a stainless steel pistol right here. It's got very good weight on it, fits my hand well, so I've been just really excited to shoot this. So let's do it. That shoots very, very well. One more minute. It's a really nice reset. Okay. All right. It's a great little pistol. It has very little kick. It's a nice little reset on it. Trigger on my AR is like 3.5 pounds. It's a little heavier than that, so I'd say, 4-ish maybe. It's a very nice trigger. It's not sloppy. It's very crisp. 25 years old or so. I don't know. But it shoots really nice. All right, so let's wrap this up. We got chased off the range by a storm. That sucks, and I just figured, go ahead and break everything down and bring it all back here instead of trying to wait the storm out. Who knows when that would have been. So here we are. My overall feelings on the 22 Automag is it's an excellent pistol. It shot very, very well. It felt great in my hands. There was next to no recoil on it for a 22 Magnum round in a pistol. Felt great. It's a really nice shooting firearm. Typically we don't go over review the company when we're doing a firearm. It's just we want to focus on the firearm itself. I did do a little bit of research on AMT. They apparently did go out of business sometime in the mid-90s. Galena came in and bought them out in 98, if I remember correctly, and continued producing the Automag 2 until like 99. So the Automag 2 was produced in like the late 80s to the late 90s. So for a decade, and now the pistol is a couple decades plus old at least. And it just holds up well. So it's a very well made pistol. I'm not sure what happened to AMT, but maybe at some point we might do some videos where we actually look at these companies, see where they messed up, where they were successful, how they operate, just kind of go over the companies. I'm pretty interested in AMT now after shooting the pistol. It shoots absolutely wonderful. But we'll go ahead and wrap it up now, get Ricky's opinion on it, break it down, take a look at the internals and see what's going on. All right, thank you very much.
Hey y'all, welcome back from the range. We've got the 22 Automag back now, and I'm gonna take it apart and show you a little bit about how to field strip it. But before I do that, actually I want to touch on the differences in the 22 Magnum versus some of the other 22 rounds. So I've got here a couple of examples of, we'll start out with our 22 short, which is here. And it's a 29 grain bullet in this case, and it shoots close to 1,000, 1,100 feet per second, something like that. Then we step up. I don't have a 22 long to go by, but it's going to be between these two really. This is a 22 long rifle, and here you're shooting a 40 grain bullet, and typical standard load for that is going to be 1,100 feet per second, give or take just a little bit, 1,100, 1,200 feet per second. Up to you can get some hypervelocity out of those that or could be 1,500, 1,600 feet per second if you're using maybe a 29 or 30 grain bullet. And then you step up to the 22 Magnum, is what we're talking about here. And this is 22 Winchester Magnum rimfire is what it's called. It's WMR. All right, so that gives you an example of what you're looking at here. With the Magnum cartridge, you're shooting a 40 grain bullet at over 1,900 feet per second. So it's a considerable difference in that. So you got a much longer case there to put a lot more powder in. So I just want to give you a touch base on that and just give you an example of what we're talking about when we say 22 Magnum. It goes a little faster, considerably faster actually than the typical 22 long rifle. All right. And now here we have the Automag 2 by Arcadia Machine and Tool out of California. Okay. If we come back from the range now, we're going to take it down and show you how to field strip it and clean it. As always, we're going to take our magazine out. Okay, the magazine releases on the bottom here. We'll pull our slide back, lock it open. You can see there's nothing inside the chamber. Okay, now to take this gun down, to get the slide off of it to start with, you can see that, I'll close it up right quick. You can see that the barrel has a barrel bushing here, very similar to the way a 1911 handgun would be made. But the guide rod sticks out far enough that you can't turn this collar or turn your barrel bushing and get the spring out of it without taking the slide off the gun first. So that being the case, to get the slide off the gun, we lock it back in position. And if you look, I'm gonna put a light in here, maybe you can see a little better with flashlight. You look down in here with our camera, there's a lug in here where, right there where my light's touching. Hopefully you can see that you have to push from the inside is probably the easiest way to do it, to get your takedown pin out of the frame. So I'm going to reach down in here, we'll pull the slide back just slightly, and with the slide lock up in this position, reach in here and push back out, push out on that tab. Okay, and you push it out with your finger a little bit, it'll come out. And there you go, it comes right out that way. Okay, now you can release your slide. And with this, you'll need to take your safety lever to the fire position, and then it will come off the forward of the frame. I want to show you this right quick too while I'm thinking about it. On your takedown lever, you have a small notch. The pin that locks it into the frame is oblong shape, so you have to have it in the up position for this lug to disengage from the frame. So as we put it back in and show you that right quick, it's in the up position, you can push it out of the frame from the inside. With your tab now, you can see without the sliding away, you can see this tab I'm talking about from the inside. Push that in, and it will pop out the outside. Now, if by chance this were down in a down position, you had the slider held back with your hand and try to push it out, it's not going to come out that way. You have to have it in the up position, and then it'll slide right out of your way. All right, easy enough. And with any, with any other firearm, this is all stainless steel, by the way. And so that being the case, you don't have to be concerned about a rusting situation so much. Just take it apart like this and douche it out with some solvent. Get your carbon and lead buildup out of it, your gunpowder residue, and then put it back together and just wipe it off a little bit. A little bit of lubrication in your slide areas, maybe a drop or two where your trigger mechanism and where your hammer operates. And by the way, with this one also, you have your ejector, or rather not ejector, this is your extractor, and it will fall off. Okay, so just be aware of that. You take this slide off, lay the gun down, and this part's laid out by itself. Where in the world did that come from? Okay, just pay attention. This is your ejector, and it sits right here when the gun goes back together. Alrighty. Now see if it falls off without doing anything with it. Now to take our barrel and our guide rod and spring out. Okay, we're going to push down on our guide rod bushing here. Turn our barrel bushing. In this case, looking at it from the end of the barrel, we're going to turn it to the right. And make sure you have your hand over this thing because there's some spring tension on it. You could lose your cover cap there for your spring. Pull your spring out the front, and then you can pull your guide rod, or barrel bushing rather. Take your barrel bushing off there, and our guide rod will come out the back. Both the guide rod and the barrel have to come out toward the back of the frame. They will not go out toward the front. So now you've got your field stripping done. That's all you need to do to field strip it. And we'll go in here and wash out our gunpowder and get her clean. Okay, come back with a little bit of lubrication, light oil film, a little dry patch to make sure it's not puddled on there. As with any other firearm, we don't want to have it puddled wet so that you have an opportunity for dirt and dust to stick to it a whole lot. Just thin film is all you need left. And we'll put it back together. So now we've got it cleaned up, got a little lubrication on it. Drop the barrel in from the rear. Okay. Put our guide rod in from the rear also. And it will sit right up against the locking or the barrel lug here on the back of the barrel. Slide our spring back in place. First, before we put the spring in, because it's going to stick out too, got to put your barrel bushing back in. You can see here you have a notch on your barrel bushing, just like a 1911. Most folks probably are familiar with that at this point. And there is one slot inside the, I'll tell you what, let me take this out, you can see it. See it that way. You can see a slot inside of the frame right here where the barrel rides. It's a machine groove inside your frame, and that's where your barrel bushing lug fits into. So it only goes one way. You can't turn it both directions like on a 1911, you can turn it both directions. With this one, it only works one way. And it is just to be able to take the barrel in and out. Okay, we put this back in. Okay, and now we leave it rotated to the right so we can get our spring back in place. All right, now our spring cap, push it down and keep your tension on it with your finger till you can get your barrel bushing rotated just enough, and now it snaps back in place. All right, now she's captured, it's not going anywhere. Before we put it back on the slide onto the frame, I want to make sure that our guide rod is straight and square, even with our with the lug on our barrel, and that seems to be in the right place now, pretty much even on both sides. Okay, and we're going to slip this back into place. And if you watch, actually on the inside of this frame too, we have something another want to show a note of is a spring sticking up right there. Okay, that's on top of your trigger hinge pin, and that spring sticking up, it's going to catch the back of the barrel lug, so it's not a problem. If you wanted to take to the trouble to push that down and keep it under the barrel, it possibly will fit under there. That would help, I think, lessen the spring tension on your trigger to make the trigger easier to pull, but it's not necessary. So we're going to show the trigger pull of this thing in just a minute. Now we're going to wiggle this a little bit and get it back. Oh, got to put I almost forgot. Drop our ejector back in position. And we'll wiggle that a little bit, slide it back in place. And I'm going to watch for my barrel lug to get the hole lined up right here with our takedown pin. And now we've got our hole lined up. Drop our pin back in place. And now we can pull our slide all the way back and catch it just right. There we go. And now it's ready to go. All right, ready to rock and roll. It's back together now. We can put our mag back in it. Okay, the magazine does hold it open on the last shot in this case. All right, we're ready to go again. And that being the case, let's go ahead and see what the trigger pull is on this thing. Oh, before I do that, I'd like to put a dummy round into the magazine, or into the chamber here. I'm using a 22 long rifle because that's the only thing I have, but it will work just fine as far as a dummy round. Because this is a rim fire, I don't want to be dropping the firing pin onto the face of your barrel in this case. So we have our plastic dummy round in here. Hook our trigger gauge to it, and let's see what we end up with. Alrighty. A little over 4 pounds, about 4.5 looks like. I'll try that again to see what it. Oh, yep, there we go. The ejector works good, don't it? extractor and injector work like they're supposed to. All right. We'll do it one more time, because I believe that's pretty much where it's going to end up at anyways. Oh, now we're at 4 pounds. Okay. And that probably has to do a little bit of the spring seating back where it should be. So there we go. Anyway, there's your AMT Automag 2 22 Magnum handgun that's been cleaned up a little bit and ready to go back in service now. So, thank you guys for watching us. And for something you want to see, give us a note at maverickgunworks.com and we'll see if we can round it up and show you something for it. Thank you.